take your fears, your insecurities, your worries, you roll them all up into a ball, you turn those son bitches sideways and stick them straight up, then candy out!
Pick your goal and stick fucking to it. You wishy-washy motherfuckers. I can't fucking stand you.
I wanted to make sure that out of the 24 hours of the day, that I don't waste one single hour. Those hours were too precious. And so there I just want to tell people, don't give me this thing, I have a difficult time with the time and I don't have time for this and I don't have that. You have time. You make the time.
And now, welcome to the Be Informed, Live Fit podcast, sponsored by FitnessInformant.com.
While you sitting down, bitch, about how I triple my fan base, net worth bench. Can't say there's worse, bitch. Do something, fuck it, I prove something. Don't switch up, should've made your best first, bitch. I'm
CEO. Welcome to this week's episode featuring the 2019 Shield of Excellence Supplement Awards nomination list. Gerhard Hierman, the Senior VP of Content here at Fitness Informant, and myself made the list of 5 nominations in each of the following categories. We have obviously the granddaddy of them all, the brand of the year. We also have product of the year, pre-workout of the year, protein of the year, and then finally, we have breakout brand of the year as well. We discussed them all here on the podcast, as well as the justification on why we picked the brands and the products that we did. We discussed how the brands and the products were essentially made the pool for the consideration set, and we dived into that. This is also your first look inside Gerhard Hierman, who is the Senior VP of Content here. He's been on our IG channel several times before, but he's going to be more involved on this platform, and I'll tell you why here in just a second. This week's Pumped Up segment of the week is being brought to you by Built Fast Formula's award-winning Vaso Blitz Pump Igniter. Not only is Vaso Blitz the winner of our 2018 Shield of Excellence Supplement Award for the best pump product, it is also the first nitrate formula fully disclosed with 30 servings, not scoops. When Vaso Blitz is consumed daily, even on your off days, it will last you a full month. All this for $34.99. As a special offer to our listening audience, use coupon code INFORMANT and save 15% off your entire order. That includes Vaso Blitz and Full Blitz, and I'm pumped up as Gerhard, the guy that we just talked about, you guys get to meet him a little bit more here on the podcast. He will officially be joining Fitness Informant full-time come January 2nd, technically, January 1st, 2020. Gerhard's been with me a year now, and he was with Supplement Reviews in the past. We actually found something out on their website in which they were doing some shady-ass shit, and I called him out for it. And Gerhard, like a man, reached out to me, actually at that time via Facebook, and let me know his displeasure in the staff over at SR that was responsible for this action. He took it down, and SR then cut him loose, because of it. So, or because of that and other things, obviously. But he knows his stuff, and he knows sports nutrition, and he knows the industry. So I said, dude, I can't pay you anything yet, but you come over here and help me out, and we'll work on something. And last October, he came over to FI, I believe it was October, November, and, he started just doing reviews for us, and he started just volunteering to write some more content, and he came with me to the Arnold in March, and then from there, he came with me to New York City in August for the Natural Body Block Party. He just got back. He was just in Vegas with me at the Olympia, and we are at a place now here at FI where things are going well, where he has been shown his loyal hand to Fitness Informant. He has done so much good stuff with me here at FI that I appreciate him and appreciate everything he's done, that we are now bringing him on full time. And for me, I'm pumped up because it is an opportunity for me to be able to provide a living to somebody doing something he absolutely loves. That feeling is just, it's remarkable to me. It actually makes me really, really happy that I am able to pay somebody a living wage that he can support himself and those around him while doing something he loves, and that is Fitness Informant and this industry and fitness industry in general. So I'm pumped up that our staff is expanding full-time. We'll have 2 guys on full-time, myself and him, and we are going to cover so much ground, including the 2020 FIBO Expo in Cologne, Germany. We will be heading over to Cologne, Germany as Fitness Informant as we look to expand internationally as a brand and also to expand internationally with the brands that we work with, not only here in the States, but obviously the ones that attend the largest sports nutrition expo on the planet. Our Genius Moment of the Week is being brought to you by the Genius Brand. The Genius Brand offers high-quality supplements with scientifically proven, clinically dosed, all-natural ingredients. With a blatant disregard for profit margins, the Genius Brand focuses on creating innovative, industry-leading wellness supplements to help you live an active, healthy, and long-lasting life. Supplement smarter today. Check out full reviews of the Genius Brand over at fitnessinformant.com. This week's Genius Moment of the Week talks about food consumption and timing. Listen, my coach, Adam Bisick, genius, smart guy, talks about this a lot on his channel over at B-Sick Fit on Instagram, but the research to date says that you want to create a protein synthetic effect every 3 hours in your body. And I think most of us are accustomed to basically consuming protein, whey protein or vegan protein, some kind of protein post-workout, when actually that might not be the best thing in the world. And why is that? Well, if you just ate maybe a half hour before your workout, and your workout takes 45 minutes to an hour, you've only allotted about 2 hours between that protein synthetic effect. You don't necessarily need to eat right away. You still have another hour to spare. So the genius moment of the week here is to kind of read up on this and learn a little bit more about peri-nutrition timing is what we're calling it. So to create a protein synthetic effect every 3 hours, you obviously want to have a protein-rich meal, 30 grams of protein or more that'll initiate muscle protein synthesis, which will then help, obviously, with muscle growth and recovery. So you don't necessarily need to eat or do a post-workout protein shake if it's not the right time. Now, a lot of people may fast, and their first meal of the day might be post-workout, then absolutely eat, right? But if you're somebody who just ate something before the gym, or maybe you took 25, 30 grams of whey protein powder right as you walked into the gym, you don't need to eat post-workout. So that's my genius moment of the week, is just understand peri-nutrition timing and look it up. And actually, we'll see if we can get Adam to cover some of that topic over at fitnessinformant.com. Listen, I don't want to cover a lot of stuff here in the opening, as this show is a little bit longer as we dive into all the nominees for the 2019 Shield of Excellence Supplement Awards. The WWE-style championship belt has been shipped from Europe to here at our new HQ in the States. I'm excited to get it. This championship belt will have custom plates on it for the brand of the year. We'll take the logo of the winning brand of the year and put that on the belt. And I'd like to personally deliver it, to be honest with you. So the people's vote this year will matter. It'll matter a lot. We're excited about it. And here is our entire nomination list featuring Gerhard Hierman and your boy, Ryan Buckeye. Let's go.
The BAR Breakfast at the Ready is finally here. The world's first protein bar made with real cereal pieces from some of your favorite cereals and the best cereals of all time. This bar has 20 grams of protein, only 20 grams of carbohydrates, with 5 of them coming from sugar, and 4 grams of fat, 190 delicious calories that you can fit in at any time. Any person can take this bar, man, woman, child, whether you're working out, you're training to build muscle, or you just need a healthy snack throughout the day. The BAR is your solution. Go to redcon1.com and order the BAR Breakfast at the Ready right now.
With the amount of hard work that I put in, I need a reputable brand.
I absolutely love this stuff.
The energy is amazing. The pumps are ridiculous. The flavor is absolutely delicious.
I was blown away by the amount of energy, the muscle pump.
It keeps me going throughout the day.
Take your workouts to the next level.
The energy was so crazy for me.
Really gives me the boost I'm needing in the morning.
You will train harder. You will see better pumps. You will go longer in the gym.
The quality of the ingredients makes a difference.
Try Rise. You're going to love it. I guarantee it.
Their products are top of the range, and I'm very proud to be a part of Team Rice.
For the last 2 decades, we have been the best kept secret of the supplement industry. We've kept our heads down and worked. We pioneered full label transparency and full therapeutic doses because we believe that truly hard work requires truly effective tools. 2 decades is a long time to commit to one pursuit, but when you act with purpose and become centered in yourself, eventually you realize that you were born and bred for this. The things you once thought impossible, you now do every day. We don't like the easy way, it just doesn't feel right. We'll take the long, hard road over a shortcut any day. It takes longer, sure, but in the end, you know you earned it. And with the right team behind you, pushing yourself further than you've ever been would be just another afternoon doing what you love most.
Pretty crazy that over 10,000 guys have now called Superhuman pre-workout the best pre-workout on the planet. But this did not happen overnight. In fact, here's the entire history of Superhuman pre-workout from the very first edition of Superhuman Hulk Juice all the way to our latest edition. And we have been obsessed with perfecting this formula every step of the way. And the reason that Superhuman pre-workout is so good is because it is the first formula in world history max dosed in the 5 pillars of a perfect pre-workout. So you are literally guaranteed to see faster muscle building and fat loss results. So tap the link to receive 20% off your first tub using the code NEWGAINS. And I am so confident you're going to be blown away by Superhuman pre-workout. I want to offer you a 365-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to lose.
All right, everybody, welcome back inside the Be Informed Live Fit podcast. It is award season, as we mentioned in the opening, on the split screen if you're watching via YouTube. It's my boy G, Gerhard. He's been helping out with FI for a year now, which is absolutely fucking insane. So here's the premise of the 2019 Fitness Informant Shield of Excellence Supplement Awards. People always ask us, G, how did the nominees come about? Here's the parameters on becoming a nominee in our awards. First and foremost, like, we've had to work with the brand. We have to be familiar with the brand. We have to be familiar with the products in which make today's list, because we cannot vouch for a product that either Gerhard, myself, Brad, the FI staff haven't tried. We can't vouch for a product like that we've never tried or have any type of information on. So there has to be a connection between the brand, the product, and Fitness Informant. Then from there, my boy G and I kind of went through each category. And today we're going to talk about the 5 categories which are up for nominations and up for awards this year. We have Breakout Brand of the Year, Pre-Workout of the Year, Protein of the Year, Product of the Year, and then the granddaddy of them all, Brand of the Year. And what we did is Gerhard made his list of 5 each. I made my list in 5 each. The commonality ones obviously got the shoe in, and the ones that didn't, we discussed and we talked about, and we broke down why or why not those brands should or should not be in, or products should or should not be in. Also want to say this. If for the product, the pre-workout, and the protein of the year to be considered, that product had to be released in either late 2018, so Q4 2018, or so far in 2019. That also, as we talked about, Garrett and I want to make sure that people are well aware of this. It could include a flavor extension. So if it's been a pre-existing product, but they have like a cool extension of a flavor or just a unique approach to that product, that also was up for consideration for this year's awards. So that's the awards, but let's talk about Gerhard for a second, because G, a lot of people may only see you on the IG story every now and then. Like, you've been in this space a long fucking time too, dude. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I started my whole supplement journey after changing my life about 8 years ago. Starting out on, my old job, supplementreviews.com. Then one day Ryan called us out, for some shit that I did not know about. And, at first like, who's this asshole? And now I work for him.
Yeah.
So
now we're here.
Things work out pretty well. Yeah,
Yep.
now I'm here. Now look at the shirt. We even have matching shirts.
Matching shirts. And this was if those watching on YouTube, like, we didn't plan this. I swear to God, we didn't plan this. Garrett's been a huge help on FI. He's going to continue to be a huge help on FI. So I was excited to actually have some assistance this year on the awards, because for the last 2 years I've had to do them myself, which is fun, but at the same time it's nice to get a second opinion. New this year is, so these are the nominees. The nominees are going to be released, obviously, on the show. We're going to talk about them. Then we're going to have votes on the nominees here later in the year, and then eventually hand out the awards in November, December. But the people this year are actually going to get a vote for the first time. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up fitnessinformant.com to allow the people to come in and vote for their favorite in each category. Now, the people's collective votes is going to equal 1 vote. That's how this works. Gerhard has a vote, I have a vote, and maybe some other staff members within FI will also have a vote, and that is going to be the determining factor on how and who or what wins the different awards this year. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited that the people have a chance. So that way the brands, G, because let's be honest. Brands, if they're not up for consideration or the products aren't up for consideration, they get hurt. They're upset. They're pissed at me. here's the deal.
You can't win with these at all.
You can't win all the time, right? I mean, I love doing the awards. I think they're fantastic. I think they're very helpful. But at the same time, you can't please everybody. So for the brands listening, listen, we considered a plethora of brands, a plethora of products. 2019, as Garrett said, was a great year. We had a lot of cool stuff. Actually, one of the probably the most progressive years in sports nutrition that I can remember. And I don't know if you agree with that or disagree.
I actually completely agree with the growth of some brands and some brands just coming right into your face. You know, that sounded pretty bad, but
coming right in your face. Brands were coming right in your face in
Yeah.
2019, but the products too are starting to change and evolve into more functional benefits. And now we have the other side of that with stem heavy products, which everybody listening to this podcast knows how I feel about that. So let's dive into it. We're going to start off with a bang right away here. The nominees for the Breakout Brand of the Year. Now, Breakout Brand of the Year, what does that mean? That doesn't technically mean it's a brand new brand in 2019 because these brands that are on this list, one of the brands that's on this list, has been around 20 years, which is very, to a lot of people, it's probably going to shock them. But Breakout Brand of the Year really means like in 2019, they really broke out of their shell. They did something special. People are now more aware of them today than they were ever in the past. And I'll start out with our first nomination. Now, might come as a surprise to people, but our first brand nominee for the 2019 Breakout Brand of the Year is Outright. Outright bars, Outright mix, pancake mix, Outright peanut butter spreads. Mark Lobliner has built something special with Outright Bar, and they launched last year right around the Olympia. I think at the Olympia is when Outright Bar launched in 2018, and now they're picked up in major distribution channels. They are spoken so highly, including us here at FI, but on other review channels. And I think what he's done with Outright Bar is he's created something that's not a bodybuilding niche product. It's something that anybody can absolutely have.
Oh, I completely agree there. And also with some of the very interesting flavors that he's come out with. Everything's been a hit. Banana walnut, the s'mores. What else has come out? He's come out with a vegan bar.
Yeah, that's big too.
The almond bar. So everything Mark touches basically goes to gold. It's kind of what I've learned over the past 8 years.
Yeah.
So Outright's definitely on this list.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's not a sports supplement company per se. It's within our space. And I thought I personally, and you and I both had them on our list, respective lists, before we talked about, because they've just done so much this year. It's kind of like last year it was the MRE bar. The MRE bar took over sports nutrition in terms of bars, and the MRE bar is still doing fantastic. And so is the BAR from Red One, still doing fantastic. Mark came in with a different approach, create Outright Bar, which then extended out to now the pancake mix, and he has the spreads too. And he's just going to keep that train rolling to the point where it's finding itself in BP gas stations and grocery stores. So that's just kind of breaking the shell, the typical mold of sports nutrition.
You're going to find that in more than just supplement retailers,
right? Yeah.
So I like that approach.
Who else do we got on this list here, G?
So next up, this one kind of forced its way into my mind. I've used a few of their products. We have Alpha Lion.
Yeah.
So you want
again, I was going to say, this is one that you and I both had on our list before we even convened with each other. And it's not because we have a working relationship with Alpha Lion, but they have, and you can attest to this too, their distribution has picked up in major supplement online retailers. Their marketing presence is phenomenal. I mean, and they've done some really cool stuff with products this year.
Oh, I agree. I'm kind of happy I got that cherry popper, pre-workout. They really know how to name their flavors. Yeah. That's for sure. They really know how to build up hype around their releases as well. Mm-hmm. There was a Freedom Juice that you at least told me was amazing.
Yep.
I got to try Supreme myself. I'm enjoying it. And now I've actually grown a huge interest in their line, so they kind of sucked me in.
Yeah, it's one of those companies, too, sometimes you think, are they smoke and mirrors? Is it all marketing? Because their Facebook ads and their presence on social media is fantastic, but the formulas behind this stuff is very good. Now, their pre-workout is a DMHA-based pre-workout, so that is a question mark moving forward and what they're going to do there, but I have full confidence in the brand that I think they're going to be, if they do make a change, that they'll do it in a way that is still going to benefit the consumer. They have a great sleep aid. They have a great pump product. They've come out with a joint formula in Cyborg. They've actually just came out with Gatorade, which is a reformulated amino product. So Alpha Line has really stepped up this year in 2019 and put themselves on the map. I'm going to skip the next one I have on the list because I want you to talk about that when we get to it because it was your idea to put them on there because it didn't even occur to me to put them on there, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to skip over that one and let you talk about that next. But Raise Energy is my next nominee for Breakout Brand of the Year. Listen, in a industry that is basically owned and controlled by Jackal Walk and Bang Raise is doing something to make a little bit of noise. And by a little bit of noise, a lot of bit of noise, because they have done some really cool things this year. Not only are their flavors great, there's 300 milligrams of caffeine, your typical energy drink product. They have a different approach than Bang. They don't have mass distribution as Bang, but they're in GNCs. They are with Europa. They have good distribution. They're in gyms, but they did a limited edition release over the 4th of July for Apollo that got a lot of noise. And then their most recent crowdsourced Voodoo, which we got to try at the Olympia, which was the first ever crowdsourced energy drink. And G's laughing here because we did an instant reaction on this, and we can call Garrett candy corn from now on if we want to. But it was orange, it was good, and it was just a unique way to approach creating a product in which the people were involved in creating that. And I feel like just from an outside perspective, looking into the energy market within sports nutrition, Bang is definitely still number one by far.
Easily.
By far. But number two for me, I think Raise Energy has kind of itched itself into the number 2 spot in terms of popularity in sports nutrition. Not the world, but in sports nutrition.
Yeah, it certainly has its own place, because Bang is pretty highly carbonated when you drink them. So Raise is kind of like I don't want to say flatter, but less carbonated, almost sweeter. I don't want to say version of Bang, because it's actually better than Bang in my opinion.
I think the flavors are too.
And I think they're a little bit more innovative with their flavors, besides the candy corn one. Their Hulk Hogan one, the Galaxy Burst flavors, to date, my favorite energy drink ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, it starts out as a lemon flavor, but then it goes into a very strong pink Starburst flavor, which is one of my favorite candies of all time. So they really, that's probably my most bought energy drink this year after I tried it.
Yeah, and I think to that point, you're bringing up all these different flavors too, and not to spend too much time on Raise, but the energy drink market is saturated. Bang comes out with a flavor every other week, but outside of that, there's not really an energy drink company or a brand that really releases flavors on the regular. Raise released 3 this year. I mean, they released the Galaxy one, they released Apollo, and then they released obviously Voodoo, and they're not done. So I mean, granted, Apollo and Voodoo are kind of seasonal. They could stick around to stay, but they did something, right? Versus just kind of like sitting back and selling your traditional SKUs. They actually made some noise, did some stuff, which that's why we have them on the list here, is because as an energy drink brand in a world in which energy drinks are consumed like crazy, to do that many releases in a year is pretty impressive.
Oh, I completely agree.
All right, brother, give me the brand that you came up with that didn't even occur to me, but after you brought it up, I thought, wow, that is a phenomenal brand, and I think people out there listening right now are watching are probably going to raise their eyes when you say the name, but we're going to explain why.
All right, this may come as a surprise to you guys, but my pick was Gaspari.
Yeah.
So after we all know what happened with Gaspari, the lawsuits he went through, I actually thought Gaspari was dead about a year ago or 2 years ago. They were with high tech, they were kind of there, but just making other high tech products. But recently, this past year, they've really made a resurgence. They've released bone broth, proven egg. Mm-hmm. They have a new joint formula, I believe. Yep. They're coming out with a lot new products, a lot new flavors. Saison is still one of my favorite intro workouts on the market. So they're back in my mind.
Yeah.
So I thought they were dead, and they brought themselves back up. That's why I threw their name in the in the hat.
You're not the only one, man. I think everything in the world thought they were dead. When I had Rich on the podcast, I think for a second he probably thought he was dead. I mean, he had to acquire the company back from a company, I believe, in Ireland. Had a partner with Jared Wheat, and then had to basically buy Jared out, and now owns the company back outright. The only issue with the Jared Wheat partnership was he lost some of the IP to some of his products, so he had to rename it. So now we have Proven Whey, we have Proven EAAs, Proven Egg, the Proven series, which is great. They're bone broth, they're joint formula. They're not Gaspari that was 20 years ago with pro hormones and hardcore products. They're a totally different company right now that is more functional based than anything. And I actually had a call with Gaspari yesterday, and I said to them, like, listen, we don't look at you guys as a legacy brand. We look at you guys as kind of like a brand new brand, because you're operating and you are doing things as such as a startup would do. And that's exciting. And I think they obviously have the benefit of the Gaspari name. People are still familiar with it. But I believe when people see the products that they're coming out with, they're a little taken back by it, because they're not, like I said, they're not pro hormones. They're not what Gaspari used to be. They used to be hardcore anabolics. That was what Gaspari was, and now Gaspari is kind of a brand for anybody, which is very impressive. And they have released a plethora of products, some of which, we'll actually talk about another product of theirs here today in another list that it's super impressive to see what they're doing with that brand. So that's why they made the list here too. And then our fifth one here is a big brand that had potential to be a brand of the year candidate, but they're still very young. And we have Rise Supplements on here. Now, Rise is a brand, I believe, less than 2 years old. And they had their white line, which was very popular. We've tried their pre-workout, their EAAs, their pre-workout. Their white pre-workout's great for cognition, for energy. It's phenomenal. But they released their Project Blackout here this summer, which was going to be which was another pre-workout with nitrates, NO3 technology, and they released a pump product also with nitrates as well. And they released a pancake mix. So they have one of the best tasting protein powders on the market. They're ran by a young entrepreneur named Nick Stella. We worked out with them out in New York City.
Good guy.
They're doing all the right things. I think, they are, with their Project Blackout, it's really what put them on for a Breakout Brand of the Year to accelerate some distribution. They got in with Subs.com. So those are also things that we look at when we do these in terms of brands. It's not just like how many products did they release this year, because anybody can release 25 products. That doesn't make you a brand or a Breakout Brand of the Year, but like, are they successful? Are you getting distribution? Are you growing as a brand? So those are all things that we look at. And the 5 Breakout Brands of the year, every single one of them, Outright, Alphaline, Gasperi, Raise, and Rise, all have grown this year. They've all increased their distribution, and they've all released a product or two. All of them were very good products that were released this year. So that is a solid list for Breakout Brand of the Year. Let's dive into next. We're going to talk about Protein of the Year because protein is the number one purchased sports supplement in the world in terms of categorical purchase. Easily. I think it's 80%.
Everybody's first supplement is a protein powder.
Yeah, 80, 85, 90% of this market is protein powders. So, which makes sense. You see them at Costco's, you see them at Walmart's. It's protein, and anything functional foods. So, I'll start out with one of my personal favorites, and this is what I think is great about this brand, and I'll do a little story too. Is it's Muscle Sports Lean Whey, but their special edition line. So, Lean Whey's been around for a while. This is kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier. Like if they came out with flavor extensions, that could be considered. So their special edition line consists of Unicorn Cookie Shake, Fluffer Nutter, and Coconut Caramel. All 3 of those were released here in 2019, and all 3 are absolutely phenomenal. And all 3 have sold a ton from Muscle Sport. Now, Unicorn Cookie Shake was my favorite protein of all time. And then I tried Fluffer Nutter, and I was like, whoa.
I'm going to agree on the Unicorn Cookie Shake. That is, to date, my favorite protein powder ever. There's no real competition to it. You know, it's a completely different flavor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who would have thought that those cookies that everybody avoids at, big grocery stores,
right.
Sugar cookies would actually taste good as a drink? Because usually when those are at a picnic, you avoid them.
Right.
But when it's in a protein shake, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So good
it's
job.
Great. Fluffer Nutter is great, and then they did a nice a launch with Vitamin Shop with those flavors. So not only that, they're high quality proteins. Muscle Sports putting out Lean Whey too. It's very high quality protein. They're not flavoring it using sweet whey. That's not why it tastes great. It tastes great because Jason and team over at Muscle Sports did a really good job. And the story that I want to tell briefly is the first time I met Jason. I've talked about that, I believe, on this podcast before. Is I walked in and I met Jason, and Greg, who's the chief marketing officer over there, told Jason, Ryan doesn't like your marshmallow cereal or your Lucky Charms flavored Lean Whey. First time ever meeting a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, and that's what Greg says. He throws me under the bus. Jason, to his credit, instead of being rude or whatever else, he reformulated the flavor, sent me the new flavor in the mail, got my opinion on it. I approved of it, and now he fixed Lean Charms. So Lean Charms is going to come out tasting better based on the feedback of one person, and the person speaking on the microphone right now. So that just goes to show like the integrity that company has, especially when it comes to their protein line. How badly they want to be number one. It says the better tasting whey on their website, and I cannot argue with that. They have great tasting whey protein at high qualities.
I don't disagree. On this list, it's actually easily the best tasting protein out there. It's almost unfair.
We'll talk about the one that made probably the biggest impact this year, Jeeds. It was one.
All
that
right,
you really liked.
I think we both agreed on this one. This one has set a new standard for getting recognition in this industry. It's sold out in 9 minutes upon release. I have Ghost Whey Chips Ahoy flavor specifically. So I remember when that day when it released, I was on the California freeway on the 57, I believe, and I saw the time, like, oh wow, shit, it's out. So I pulled to the side of the freeway and placed my order in for it.
Right.
And if I didn't do that, I would have had to wait to get a tub. which you wouldn't really expect with a protein powder these days, but somehow Ghost made it happen simply because of, working with a very popular company, Chips Ahoy.
Yeah. By far the biggest licensing deal in the industry, hands down. Nice thing with Ghost is they have the Mondelez relationship, so they have access to a lot of those brands. But, I mean, they had Swedish Fish, they've had Warheads, they've had Sour Patch Kids. I mean, they've done Sonic, the cherry limeade this year in their pre-workout. They've done Welch's, which is also a big company. Chips Ahoy, to me, was the biggest licensing deal of the year.
Easily. That drew in more buzz than any protein on this list, actually, which is easily why they're on here.
The only bigger licensing deal that I can think of would be Oreo. From just because Oreo is the godfather of cookies in the world, I feel like. But if you look, Oreo, I believe is Nabisco Mondelez as well. So they have an opportunity probably if they can show proof of concept. I would not be shocked if we see an Oreo Ghost Whey at some point in 2020. I would not be shocked.
Get it done, Dan and Ryan. We know you can.
This next one you and I both put on the list, and it's from a smaller brand, but Chris Waldron, Inspired Nutraceuticals, what he does is he focuses on quality, and he focuses on doing something different than what everybody else does. He's done that for however long I've known him, and that goes back to his Devastate, like the Black Edition, White Cut, White Diamond Reserve, and their Protein Plus was the first whey protein or collagen-infused whey protein on the market. And you've had it, I've had it, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought it was very well done. That it makes the list because it's so different and it's so functionally beneficial that it's not just a typical whey protein. There's more to it than that because is there probiotics in it as well?
Digestive enzymes. I'm pretty sure there's probiotics. Unless I don't have the tub on me anymore, else I'd look at it. For some reason, Chris Waldron has made me care about my skin health, and my tendon health for once. So that's actually why Inspired Pluses or Protein Pluses has actually become a staple in my diet.
Yeah.
So he's basically gotten the most popular product on category in the industry and made it special or added to it, enhanced it basically with something very simple, however very clever and original.
The tough part with protein is it's so expensive to begin with. Anytime you add cost, the consumer starts getting shy. So that's why there's people like G and I who are supposed to we come off and we try to educate you on this thing. Like this also has type 1, type 2, and I believe type 3 collagen protein in it, which is good for a plethora of different things, hair, skin, nails, etc., bones, joints, whatever. Collagen is a massive industry. It's going to keep growing. But if you can infuse that within a traditional category like he's done, he's blended to, which is very, very cool. All right, brother, I'll let you take the next one.
The next one is actually not a whey protein, surprise. Mm-hmm. This is actually what put this brand back on the map.
Right.
And that's Gaspari Nutrition's Proven Egg.
Have you tried it?
Yeah. Actually, I got a tub out at the block party, and I got to use that for my trip out in Massachusetts.
What flavor did they give you?
There. The chocolate one, and actually it tastes pretty much exactly like chocolate pudding.
Yeah.
Literally chocolate pudding.
It's great. And I had the salted caramel, which the nice thing about salted caramel for me is you get the natural salt flavor from the egg, so that just played in with the salted caramel. Here's the thing, too. The bioavailability of egg is essentially the same as whey. It's 100, right? Whey's 104, egg is 100, I believe it is. And okay, we can split hairs if you want to argue with me on it. It's a high-quality, non-dairy protein. If dairy protein upsets your stomach, causes bloating, you have issues with lactose, here's a great fucking option that exists that you're still going to get the entire amino acid profile that you need for a complete protein at a bioavailability that's equal to whey. And it tastes great.
Yep, no bloating, easy on the stomach. Gaspari took egg protein has been popular for quite some time. However, usually when we talk about protein, it's always whey. Mm-hmm. And he took something different and actually got it in my face,
right. They made a protein, a non-whey protein, a non-dairy protein that made some noise this year. Now, people out there can argue, too, that there are some vegan proteins that made some noise this year. But, again, at the end of the day, vegan is still such a small niche of this market. Now, next year, I bet you we have a vegan protein on this list because I still have one more to talk about, and I'm giving it away. It's not a vegan protein. I would imagine in 2020 we'll probably have. I mean, we considered a vegan protein this year. We really did. We looked at it hard. Yep. If we want to give an honorable mention, we can to Nutrex plant-based protein. Their plant protein, great tasting. We've tried it several times. It's just the tipping point is going to be, I think, 2020, and I think we might have one, maybe two vegan proteins on next year. But our last nominee for Protein of the Year goes to a brand who spent the entire 2018 focused on flavoring. They're basically a plethora of products. NutriBio came out with a breakfast series in one of the best proteins on the market. They're 100% whey protein isolate, which has been a staple for us at FI. We when people want an isolate protein, that's one of my first go-tos because it's phenomenal. And they came out with 3 different flavors in their breakfast cereal, or breakfast series, not cereal. So what they did is all these companies are coming out with these cereal-based flavored proteins. NutriBio said, okay, breakfast, right? Let's do something breakfast, but let's do maple pancakes and syrup, or maple syrup pancakes, and let's do cinnamon sugar donut, and let's do, I think it's like blueberry muffin. So 3 different flavors that you would consume at breakfast time, and they did a really good job flavoring all 3.
Yeah, it's not even just their isolate flavor. They also have come out with some, some newer flavors as well. There's the root beer that they released.
Yep.
Which, believe it or not, I hate root beer, but I actually like that, that flavor in general. So I actually have my mom on, NutriBio Whey Isolate because it's like one of the brands I actually trust and I know she's actually going to like. She doesn't like crazy flavors. She just, or anything that's going to look like too, how do I say it, like kid-like.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lean Whey has kind of like a younger vibe to it.
Sure.
My mom's going to like NutriBio, basic, safe,
And another reason why we like NutriBio so much is we toured that facility, man. We toured that manufacturing facility, and we know exactly what goes into each and every single bottle. Literally each and every single bottle, and the amount of times that they weigh the product. I mean, it's unbelievable. That consistency and that promise and commitment to quality is always going to put NutriBio in the conversation for something every year. And so far this year, Protein of the Year, the breakfast series, they came out with a launch every Friday. The first half of 2019 was NutriBio coming out with something. Their biggest, in my opinion, was the breakfast series proteins, which is why they made the list. We're going to take a quick break, G. Come back. We're actually going to talk about the final 3 categories that people are probably ecstatic about. Pre-workout of the year, product of the year, and then the big one, the brand of the year.
So this is it. The new flavor is in production as we speak. We've been hyped about this for months and the time is finally here. So let's go check it out. In here. This is it. Galaxy Burst. This flavor has a burst of candy with a hint of tart, leaving your taste buds begging for more. It's fruity and creamy, yet sweet and tangy. After months of testing and formulation, this galactic flavor is sure to take over the galaxy. Now let's give it a try. So good.
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, time to go.
New season, bring the heat.
We are the champions.
Ghost Fantasy Football Draft.
And Ghost is launched locally available in China.
PNC X Ghost Day. Hughes, we got some stuff to try.
You drag me out on Saturday to talk about loyalty. Sit, dude.
All right, y'all, we are back. We are going to talk a category in which everybody is obsessed with. And we already talked about protein, but years past, we talked about, we did an amino product of the year, we did a pump product of the year, we did an energy drink of the year, like we did a protein bar. I mean, we did everything. That's just a bit much. So this year we decided, like when we start talking about products of the year, let's focus on a product of the year, like an overall product, which encompasses all categories. But then let's talk about the two most popular categories in sports nutrition, one being protein, which we just talked about here before the break, and the second being pre-workout, because it seems like everybody in their supplement budget, what they buy first is probably protein, and second, it's a pre-workout. I mean, they cannot work out for whatever reason without taking a pre-workout. And I'm that way, but here's why I'm that way, because I get everything. Like we get stuff, we have to review stuff. But I can, if I didn't get stuff sent to me, I think I'm falling into that trap too. I think I'm convinced now in my head that like I need a pre-workout to work out, and I know that's not true, but like that category has had that type of impact on people, so that's why we want to talk about it here this year. A lot of great pre-workouts this year, and again, these pre-workouts were delivered in 2019, whether it be a flavor, a special limited edition launch, whatever it might be, and this was a very tough one to do because pre-workout is. It seems like anytime a brand wants to come out with a new product, it's always like a high stim or medium stim pre-workout, especially in 2019. And the one, I'll start right away, that made a lot of noise. Muscle Sport had not done a ton in 2019 outside, Unicorn Cookie Shake, which we talked about in the proteins. But then came this King's Ransom, this Rhino Black that had some like mystique marketing behind it, and we got whiff of the label. It was sent to you and I first before anybody else, and you and I both texted each other and said, "Wow, like this is really impressive." Now the Rhino Black pre-workout, like their normal pre-workout, this is not a bad pre-workout, but it's not King's Ransom. It's not Forbidden Fruit, which is now out in the market today. So that is nominee number one on our list for pre-workout of the year. I thought just collectively, I thought it was very well formulated. Something, to be honest with you, I didn't expect from the brand. I didn't expect Muscle Sport to come out with it. And that's not to disrespect Muscle Sport at all. A brand that size with some of the products that they have and that they encompass underneath all brands umbrellas, like they didn't have to, is what I'm saying. Like they didn't have to formulate a product like that to be successful, but they did, and it was very good. I know you got a chance to try it from one of the Muscle Sport reps himself, and it was my favorite pre-workout in 2019 in terms of like the effectiveness. I really liked it. People can talk about the price point online, but you can get that in a store. Now it's a limited edition, right? So if you want to talk about maybe cons of this product, like it's limited edition. Once it's gone, it's gone. But at the same time, like if you really want to try it, you get your ass out there and you buy it and you try it because it is absolutely great and it's absolutely worth it.
Remember at the Olympia before our team lift, and we had, let's say, 8 different pre-workouts in front of us?
Yeah.
What did we all choose to use?
Yeah, Forbidden. Well, it's the first time Forbidden Fruit. It was the first time we had a chance to try Forbidden Fruit, which is the same
King's Ransom.
formula. Right.
We wanted those gold flakes.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we like this product. Right. It's the number one ranking pre-workout on our list or on our website for a reason, for a very good reason. It's very well rounded. It's powerful. It works. It tastes good. There's very little to hit on it for.
Right. Yeah, I thought, there's always something there's always something in a pre-workout you want more of, or maybe you want something swapped out. Everybody's a fucking expert, right? But I thought overall it wasn't too stim heavy. Now, if you took 2 scoops like I did the first time I tried it, then yeah, it's too damn stim heavy. But the question mark with this particular formula is going to be hegelamine and hordenine moving forward. And I believe, I can't remember. I think it has norvaline too, which to me I don't care about. But there are some people who get crazy about it. But so. While this is the 2019 version, this is the 2019 formula. It has hegelamine, it has hordenine in it. I love both those ingredients. I think it's bullshit they're on the FDA advisory list, but they are.
Same here.
So it'll be something to see if they continue to come out with iterations of this, if they change the formula. But as of right now, and as of this recording, and as of 2019, it's a great formula, and it's our first nominee of the pre-workout of the year. I'll let you take the next one.
The next one comes from someone that's actually pretty close by. After looking at the profile on this, without even trying, I kind of knew it was going to be one of the strongest pre-workouts on our website. This is Performax Labs Hypermax Extreme.
Yeah.
This one is, if this one doesn't give you energy, just stop taking pre-workout.
Yeah.
Just stop. You need a long break, a year break off of caffeine, everything. Aaron West, the owner, he has this thing where he's kind of like a forum formulator. He knows how to formulate things that, supplement nerds like us are really going to gawk at and be like, wow, I have to try that at least once, So that's why they're on this list.
Right. And Hypermax, the original, was good. And here,
it was good.
I'm going to echo, like I was talking about Jason before, Muscle Sport, and how I wasn't a fan of Lean Charms, and he changed it because of my feedback, one person's feedback, Fitness Informant's feedback. They created Hypermax Extreme based off of feedback from Fitness Informant. I'm not saying we are the only reason they did it, but Aaron told us directly to our faces that Hypermax Extreme was formulated to be better pump, because my feedback on Hypermax was there was not enough pump, and he agreed with that. He said, you're right. We need to increase the pump. That took Hypermax to Hypermax Extreme, which made it a better pre-workout, which is one of my favorite pre-workouts of the year. I mean, hands down, one of the best pre-workouts in 2019. Anybody who's in our forums at the Self-Made Barbell Brigade that's bought it and used it, it is just overwhelmingly popular and successful. So, and it's from a brand, and I know he's offended by it because we talk about it, but I said it's from a brand who does really good things, but nobody knows about, because they don't have the marketing budget to throw out there to get people well aware of them. So luckily there's platforms like us and G and I that can talk about these brands and educate consumers. Now, you hear the word extreme, sometimes you're like, wait, Ryan, G, you guys aren't huge on crazy stims. Listen, this is at like the peak of where we go for stims. Like, we don't love things over this. Now, they do exist. This is very high in terms of like caffeine content and stuff, but it's not irresponsibly formulated at all. You can take it responsibly. Is it something you should take every day? You can. There's no DMAA or DMHA in it. You can, but you don't necessarily need to. It's nice to, it's nice to have there too if you don't necessarily need that big kick in the ass. But the pump alone on this thing is so great. It's so much fun to take that it's well deserving of a nomination and a nod to be on our list. And I'm excited about this brand and what they're going to come out with in the future. If they keep formulating for us supplement nerds, like you said, like, we're going to be in heaven, man. We are going to be in supplement heaven.
Keep it going, Aaron. Keep it going.
The next one here is from one of our Breakout Brand of the Year nominees, and it was a limited edition launch over the 4th of July. It's the Alpha Line Freedom Juice. Now, this is basically their Superhuman Supreme version. So it's going to be their Superhuman that is amped up. So very, very similar to like Hypermax and Hypermax Extreme. This is the extreme version of Superhuman. Now, Superhuman by itself is pretty extreme to begin with. It does have DMHA. So for people who do like that, listen, we're not anti-DMHA here. I wouldn't even say we're anti-DMAA per se. Like, I don't
not necessarily.
I don't necessarily know it's. I don't believe it's a dietary supplement either. But I mean, at the same time, I also believe that people should have the right to choose what they decide to use. So, I also believe that it can be used responsibly in products and not some dickhead making it in the kitchen. So. Freedom Juice I loved, man. I would use it maybe twice a week, and typically I would use it maybe on like a leg day. Some days where you're going to be pushing a lot of weight. Flavors were great. Patriotic Pineapple, Lincoln Limeade. It did so well that the brand decided to bring them back as a full-time launch. Superhuman Supreme Extreme, or Superhuman Supreme launches on October 1st in those same two flavors in the Superhuman Supreme. So that just tells you how well it did. I believe they just did a small run of each, but it sold out. It tasted great. I know we tried it when we were out in Jersey, when we were at, we shot some content with the Rich Bio team. We had it there, and I had it, prior. It gets you going. It's good. It's well formulated. The nice thing is it's not just like one of those pre-workouts where they throw just a bunch of stimulants and nothing else. Like, you're getting clinical doses of S7. You're getting clinical doses of like every ingredient in there. It's being clinically dosed. Like, the ones that actually have studies behind them are dosed where they need to be. Now, in terms of stimulants, obviously it's what you feel. But for a brand that is really kind of kicking down the door in 2019 to come out with this, their Supreme sells out every single time they launched it. It's a limited edition that became so popular that they brought it back full time. That alone tells you that it should be on this list.
Yeah, I remember you texted me the first time you tried it, telling me, dude, I have this and you don't. Like, just rub it in my face. So I had to wait till Jersey to actually try it. So,
well, the nice thing is, since
it's
coming out full time now, you get to try it if you want. Because I'm sure they'll send us some. Skip the next one and go to the bottom, because it's a pre-workout that you speak super highly of, and I agree. I think it's great, and I think it comes from a brand, and I'll let you talk about it. It comes from a brand that has two products. Two products. And it's
that should give it away almost. Right here in my hand, I got a tub of Full Blitz Rainbow Candy. This was after Vaso Blitz. Vaso Blitz is currently our #1 ranked pump product on our website. This is basically just a stim nootropic version of that product.
Right.
So they actually work very well together. You can use one scoop of each. 2 scoops of one. You know, you're supposed to take Vaso Blitz on off days as well. This took a different route than every other pre-workout on this list. They went with a huge dose of DMAE, which gives this product kind of the feeling that you're like walking on water, or like you're in a different world almost when you're in the gym. It's a different kind of tunnel vision is the best way I can describe it. So that they deserve to be on this list. Everybody who uses Full Blitz has loved it, and you can see that on our self-made barbell brigade. You know, almost every day I see a post on Full Blitz, Vaso Blitz every day.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's done a phenomenal job of. I mean, the marketing.
A very simple product.
It's a simple product. The marketing is more word of mouth because people just love it. And I literally just got sent the brand new tub of the brand new flavor, which I can talk about because this podcast comes out on Tuesday, which means yesterday, if you guys are listening on the same day, the flavor came out. Rocket Pop is the new flavor of Full Blitz. And I will say this. It is the most closely resembled taste of Rocket Pop by any product I've ever tried. I mean, it is the one product that I've tried that actually tastes very similar, almost identical to what a Rocket Bomb, Rocket Pop actually is. So you get the hints of the cherry, I believe it's lime, and it's very, very good. And so I used it today for leg day, and I forgot how good the product was because I hadn't used it in a while. And you really do. You get zoned in. For instance, today I didn't have my headphones. I had to do leg day without headphones, and I was fine because Full Blitz just – and what's nice about it, it's not overly stimmed. I think there's 335 milligrams of caffeine. Is it 2.3 milligrams of yohimbine? I mean, it's not a lot.
335, 2T. It certainly hits you pretty hard.
It hits you hard.
Sweating on this is pretty
But it's not
pretty
constrictive.
intense, actually.
It's not going to be constrictive, so that way you're still going to get a great pump and you're going to have good focus. And for me personally, like I don't necessarily need like the strength and endurance components of a pre-workout. I'm very big on 3 things. I want energy, I want focus, and I want pump. Those are the 3 most popular things for me. Now that does not. That's not to say I don't like.
It's all those.
Yeah,
easily.
And that's not to say I don't like Elevate TP and Pico too. But like if you want to keep something simple, stupid, Full Blitz is one of the keeping it simple, stupid products that works great, that's affordable, that people love. Then the last nominee on this list is the only non-stim on this list because we give so much credit to stimulants all the time, right? But Peak X from Core Nutritionals is one of the best non-stim pre-workouts to come out in 2019. Now, there's a lot of great non-stim pre-workouts out there that are on the market that have been around longer. So Peak X from Core Nutritionals uses Pico 2. We just talked about that. I believe it's Elevate TP in that as well. Just some really good ingredients that Garrett and I absolutely fucking love. Like, we've tried them by standalones. I think Elevate TP is one of your favorite standalone ingredients just to take in general, isn't it? Or at least add into pre-workouts.
I use it like as a raw ingredient when I find it. You know, it's not the first thing on my list. You know, especially during my workout times. However, when I have it, I enjoy it.
Right. And what I like about Core, I mean, we obviously know the formulator at Core very well, Kent Nangle. He's been on the podcast a couple times, but he uses so much science in every decision that he makes when he formulates these products. I would beg somebody, I will bet anybody listening or watching this podcast to go out, find a Core product and tell me it's a shitty product. I will bet anybody on the market to try to find one, you're not going to find one because they're fully transparent, they're efficaciously dosed, they are great. So for me, this list was not complete without a really good non-stimulant pre-workout because we need to start giving some love to non-stims in this industry because we're so overly stimulated that it's okay to take a break. It's okay to take a month break from stimulants. And if there's a product like Peak X that exists that was specially launched in 2019, you bet your ass it deserves a nod for a nomination for pre-workout of the year. So that's why we have them on the list. So to recap that, the 5 nominees for pre-workout of the year is Muscle Sports, Rhino Black, their King's Ransom, or their Forbidden Fruit. It's their special limited edition. Performax Labs Hypermax Extreme, Alpha Line Freedom Juice, Core Nutritionals, Peak X, and Built Fast Formulas Full Blitz pre-workout. Let's dive into product of the year. This is a fun one. This category is fun because it allowed us to expand from the traditional categories. Now, that's not to say that we couldn't have a protein or a pre-workout in product of the year, but for me, I'll tell you what I was looking for this year in product of the year, G. Different. Something different, but also something that was successful, right? Because you can't create a different product and then nobody buys it because then it's not a product of the year. But I believe if you look on this list, like every product that we have on here, it did something pretty different and it got purchased a lot. And it's interesting, and this is why I said I thought 2019 was a fun, phenomenal year for sports nutrition is because the products started becoming, they always say that this industry lacks innovation. I mean, these products, they don't necessarily lack innovation. They're different. They're innovative in different ways, too. So, like, one of the products on here is a traditional category product, but in a different delivery format. So, like, that's innovative for us. So, I'll start here, and this was, I'm on record saying this, that NutriBio's Alpha EAA was one of my favorite launches of the year. It's simple. I mean,
Same here.
It's a very simple product. It uses ingredients. Alpha GPC is my favorite nootropic ingredient. It uses 300 milligrams of Alpha GPC, and it uses your EAAs. You're getting like 8.2 grams of your essential amino acids. You're getting a hydration complex. It's a great product. I'm actually drinking it right now, and it helps me every single day kind of zoning and get ready. And it was a product that it just seems like a no-brainer for companies to create. Like, toss in some nootropics in something that people drink daily. We sip on aminos all the time because we like their flavor. Why not give us an added benefit of a nootropic? What's even cooler is the price point on this thing isn't crazy. Like, it is not that expensive at all. It's actually very affordable.
Yeah. Hey, props to NutriBio for coming out with something that like really makes me want to come back and use it over and over again. You know, and props to them for flavoring it well. They kind of released it when they were actually like revamping their flavors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think they started out with what was it, the dragon fruit?
It was cherry lime slush and dragon fruit. I think were the first couple. Yeah. Cherry lime slush is one of my favorite flavors that they launched all year.
So in the past, NutriBio was kind of known for having not bad flavors, just not anything spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
This year they ramped it up, and this product is, you know, it's actually a great way to start your day. I would prefer this over a cup of coffee any day.
Oh yeah,
easily
100%.
To get my day started and actually take on the day, as opposed to just, you know, getting a little caffeine rush to start the day.
And if you need some caffeine, they sell like their Pure Caf pills, right? You can buy that too with Alpha EAA. You can toss in 100 milligrams of caffeine. That should be fine to get you. I mean, I think it might yield like 75 milligrams of total caffeine off of that, if I remember correctly. So you're going to get basically a cup of coffee with a nootropic feel to get you going. The next one, G, was one that you and I both agreed that should be on this list, as it's not a new product category, but he approached it differently.
Yeah, we have Chris Waldron, Inspired Nutraceuticals Greens. This is what Drew Peters, my current coach, tells me to. He's basically prescribed me this for my diet. I haven't been able to completely use it yet because I'm stocked up on everything.
Right.
But basically, Chris is basically making chlorella and like a lot of ingredients that are unknown to a lot of like, you know, lifters. Like, he's making them popular. A lot of people in the space know greens. They know wheatgrass. They know barley grass, oat grass, you know, stuff that's not really that good in my opinion. He's taking a different approach to it. He's adding KSM 66, chlorella. You know, he's got the probiotics, which isn't new, but it's an easy addition. You know, so Chris is really innovating in this space, actually. He's making it cool to take a greens product.
Yeah, it's a greens product with pre-probiotics, digestive enzymes. KSM 66 ashwagandha for stress mitigation is phenomenal. And Drew, who's obviously a mutual friend of ours, is a formulator as well. And as much as, I mean, he loves the product, but he's also pissed because he wanted to come out with it first. You know, he likes it that much that he wishes he would have come out with it first. I've been stressing to people quite a bit that we need to start focusing more on general health. And you come from the world of Sprouts, which is a West Coast, basically farmer's market type of a grocery store. It's phenomenal. It's great. It's kind of like similar to Whole Foods, but a little bit different. But you used to work in that section, and you just talked about some of the ingredients that Chris has used in this product that you have been selling for forever when you worked at Sprouts to people coming in because they understood how important they were. And now this whole, you know, at that point, I wouldn't call it taboo, but like this small little niche market that would use this West Coast grocery store is coming into the larger sports nutrition market because we're understanding the actual benefits of digestive health and everything else that it has for us. That I think Chris potentially started a movement here that we're going to see more brands start to incorporate some of this stuff in their greens and more of this stuff into just functional-based products across their line.
I agree. I mean, to me, it was no surprise to see him in a greens product. Like working at Sprouts, like you said, spirulina and chlorella were actually huge sellers there. Mm-hmm. So it's already popular in that, you know, I say this a lot, you know, that nutrition health universe of the supplement side, like of the supplement industry. In our space, I guarantee if I were to go to 10 lifters, maybe one might have heard of spirulina.
Right.
But they wouldn't know what it really is.
Yeah.
So, you know, props to Chris for using that. Well deserved to be on this list.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it makes the product more expensive for sure, but I mean, you get what you pay for, right? And I guarantee for those listening right now and watching, you are not eating enough vegetables anyway. And in Inspired Nutraceuticals Greens, he uses an ingredient from Futureceuticals that you and I know about, Gerhard. It's a full serving of greens. It is a full serving of greens. So, like in one scoop, you are getting a legit full serving of greens. So you don't actually have to sit down at the kitchen table and eat a full serving of broccoli or kale or whatever it might be. You can actually, if you want, you can drink it. Now, I still recommend people still eat veggies as well. But like in this case, right, you're still getting a full serving of greens, which will kind of basically, I mean, the greens products on the market today, most of them, 99% of them, don't give you that. So you're getting that here in Inspired Nutraceuticals Greens. Next one is you and I were torn between. We knew the brand was going to be on here. We knew Redcon 1 was going to have a product of the year on here. Now, if you think about what Redcon 1 came out with this year, they came out with Green Beret, which is a vegan protein. They came out with their BAR, which is their breakfast bar, which was very popular. But they also came out with, in January, their Total War RTD, which is the best ready-to-drink pre-workout on the market in terms of dosages. So it was, and on top of that, like it's non-carbonated, it's clear, there's no residue, and it tastes phenomenal, and it works. And it's exactly their Total War formula, less bioperin and one other ingredient because they weren't soluble in water, but it does not impact the effectiveness of the product at all. And it's you see them in almost every damn gym now. I mean, Total War RTDs are everywhere, and they're a great way to get you ready for your pre-workout or get you ready for your workout if you forgot. Now, I know GNC has like their, I think they have Lit, and then there's C4 Ultimate, which is more of a canned version. But like this is a 12 ounce. It's not 16. It's a 12 ounce clear, non-carbonated, easy to drink product that is the best on the market in my opinion.
If I could go to my gym and take out a bang out of every guy's hand that's drinking it while they work out and just give them a Total War RTD, I would.
Yep.
Because there's no reason why you should drink a bang that's probably pretty much the same price as Total War RTD. And, you know, why would you want to have a carbonated drink pre-workout versus something that's efficaciously dosed like Total War that tastes great?
Right.
You know, has no residue in there, has some very good ingredients in there, some that you wouldn't expect to see in a ready-to-drink.
Right.
Let's be honest, I was not expecting it to be that good. I was expecting caffeine and maybe a gram or a couple grams of citrulline when I heard about it. But upon release, I was very impressed.
I mean, it's literally, if you look at the label of Total War powder and you look at the label of Total War RTD, they're exactly the same, but 2 ingredients are missing. So you're getting, I think it's 6 grams of citrulline, but like most people would be like, this would be sludge. This should be sludge in a bottle. And Singerman and Redcon 1 and their manufacturers figured it out. Now in 2020, it sounds like the MRE Light RTD might be a reality. So we might be talking about them again next year in the same category or realm of things of RTDs. I'll talk about Core Nutritionals. Actually has a product on here. It's our only basically non-hormonal anabolic product on here. Listen, muscle builders are extremely popular, and every now and then a new ingredient comes to market, and there's not a lot of research on it, and there's not a lot of backing on it. And Doug Miller, to be honest, at first did not love Laxogenin. He was not a big fan of it, but then he saw some more research on it. Listen, there's still a lot of research that needs to be done, but they came out with Core Nutritionals Bolic, which includes quote unquote the clinical doses of Laxogenin, like what we expect to have. But they also added Pico too. So what a lot of brands will do is they'll just sell you a Laxogenin product, and they'll charge you $70 for it. Well, Doug and Kenton and Patrick and crew over at Core came out with Laxogenin and Pico 2, and they priced it actually less than what standard Laxogenin products are. So while a lot of people are out there spending $69.99 on straight Laxogenin, here this product is, I think it's $65. You get that same Laxogenin, and you get the phenomenal ingredient in Pico 2, which helps with oxygen uptake, a lot of great benefits, actually. Endurance, so there's so much with it. That's just, it might not be a monumental change in the way we do things, but again, it's something that nobody had done. And it's a great product. Listen, I firmly believe that there's promise in Laxogenin. I think that there's definitely promise there. I would just like to see human clinicals instead of it on bovine tissue. Now, everything that like Doug has told me, and I respect the hell out of Doug Miller and the Core Nutritionals, actually have it right here. They said that they became a believer when they tried it. And a lot of times that's what it takes. A lot of times, like, you can look at the science on paper, but sometimes that science on paper is not done on weight-trained athletes. Maybe it's done on sedentary adults. Maybe it's done on first-time trainers. But for someone like Doug, who's been training for 20 years, who looks the way he does, to take that product and say, yes, I'm finally a believer, I'll give that ingredient a green light, it makes me more of a believer because I do trust Doug, and I trust people like Doug to do the right thing. So Core Nutritionals Bolic is the only anabolic, the only muscle-building supplement on this list, and I think it's rightfully deserved to be there.
I agree. 100% agree. I'm happy to see something. I mean, obviously having a natural anabolic on here is kind of like, I don't say controversial, but it is kind of surprising because a lot of people just say, oh, they're all garbage anyway.
Right.
However, Pico 2 is actually a good ingredient. I actually prefer it over beta-alanine. So pairing that with something that, has potential as a natural anabolic is nice to see on this list, especially from a good company like Core. So, hey, can't complain.
Talk about the product that's sitting on your lap right now. As our fifth and final.
Oh, it's on my desk, on my lap.
Well, basically the same thing.
So I've been dieting. I kind of went along with the old transformation challenge when everybody was doing it. And the product that I use, my Thermo, because, we work in the supplement industry. We have to use supplements, essentially. So Ghost Burn
Mm-hmm.
is one of the nominees for Product of the Year. They were able to make something with quite a bit of grains of paradise. You know, this has a very peppery taste. They were able to make that good and actually get it's Warheads, right?
Yep.
Sour Apple Warheads. They were able to get them on board and actually release a product with grains of paradise in there. It was very impressive. They took a different approach. They used KSM 66 ashwagandha. Instead of giving you just, you know, oh, hey, let's throw DMHA in there and, you know, Aerogerensis. Let's take a different approach. Let's give you some tyrosine for focus and thyroid function. Dan is, a lot of people think he's a partier. He's actually a very good formulator.
He's a partier too. Let's not care.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
well, that's what I think of him as one, and he is one. But he knows how to formulate.
Yeah.
So you'd be surprised in a discussion with him.
Well, there's 3,000 milligrams of forms of carnitine in this thing too. You know, right? Isn't there 1,500 milligrams of Alcar?
Yeah, it's 1,500 milligrams of Alcar and tartrate.
Yeah. So I mean.
So
it's 15 and 15. So there's 3 grams total of carnitine, which, I mean, listen, we can argue about carnitine being a fat burner or not. What it does is it obviously moves fatty lipids to be burned off as energy. The more energy you can actually burn off can indirectly impact fat loss. So, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it. KSM 66, you know, it should be in every fat burner. Ashwagandha should literally be in every fat burner because cortisol is the reason a lot of people get fat in fat stores anyway. What's also why this product deserves to be on here is they sold out of their first run of Core Burn very quickly. They followed up with
Ghost Burn.
Or sorry, Ghost Burn. Core's come out with one too. So Ghost Burn, they sold out of it very quickly, and then they came back with it with 2 more flavors. So like it was that popular that they then came out with 3 flavors. I think you actually tried all 3 flavors or got them sent to you, or at least 2 of the 3. But,
yeah, I've had 2 of the 3.
You know, but the fact to have Warheads on board with a product that actually had synephrine too, you know, initially when it came out, is something that means that they trust in what Ghost is doing. So, Product of the Year nominees: NutriBio's Alpha EAA, Inspired Nutraceuticals Greens, Redcon One's Total Warrior RTD, Ghost Burn, and Core Nutritionals Box. That's why I said Core Burn, because I saw the damn name there. All right, we're gonna end the show with
that actually might be on the list. Like if Core Burn X came out a couple months earlier, it may have been on the list. Actually,
it's great. It's a great product, and actually, it's going to drop just shortly after this podcast. But now the one a lot of people care about the most. I'll tell you, the brand owners care about this one the most. Here's why they care about it the most, Gerhard. Whoever wins Brand of the Year this year for Fitness Informant gets a immaculate WWE style championship belt that costed us a lot of fucking money to make. Like, it wasn't cheap. It is the coolest supplement award in the industry, hands down. I will challenge anyone out there to say that theirs is cooler than ours. It's not. It's what for Brand of the Year. It's more than just product launches, and it's more than just marketing. We have to look at it at a wider lens. And so when we talk about the brands on here, yes, you guys are going to be like, yep, no brainer, they should be on there. But we're still going to go into some of the explanation on some of this stuff because, you know, even though some of the brands on here may not have had a ton of releases. Listen, NutriBio, if it was based on releases, NutriBio would probably win hands down because they've released every week for 26 weeks, you know? But that's not just the case. Like, you have to think about dollar volume growth. Like, is your brand actually improving from last year? Because how can you be Brand of the Year if you're actually making less money this year than you were last year? And how do we know these things? Listen, we have ins with these brands, so we get pretty good access. Now, they could lie to us, sure. I don't believe that they would. Distribution growth, are they growing within the United States and channels? Are they growing internationally? You know, obviously product launches is a big thing. Product quality is a huge thing too for us here at FI. Like, you can't be Herbalife and make this list because this is not going to work. So, and there's a coolness factor, right? Like, you have to have a coolness factor behind you. People want to use your brands not only because they're good, but because it's cool to use them too. So, I think that the 5 brands that you and I put on this list deserve to be on here. I think that there might be 1 or 2 other brands that could be on this list potentially as well. But we wanted to make sure that we obviously, honed it down. So, Garrett, I'll let you talk about the first brand because I think this is a no-brainer. Hands down, and I think
no brainer at all.
Any brand owner that you pull in the industry would put them in the top 5 for sure.
We just talked about them, or I just did. We have Ghost. I don't want to say lifestyle, but Ghost as the Brand of the Year. One thing that really, put them on my mind is how many imitators have they had this year? How many people want to be Ghosts? Right. How many people? Ryan basically told us that the lifestyle thing wasn't even a plan of theirs. Right. It just kind of happened. It was given to them, and they went along with it, and it's worked out quite well. Now everybody's trying to start a lifestyle brand. Not that that's a bad thing, actually.
No.
But it should occur naturally and not because it's worked so well just for Ghost. You can't force it.
Yeah.
And they're actually the one brand. I get this a lot, especially when I worked at SR. We're trying to change the industry from brands trying to say it to me. Ghost actually kind of has, with their flavor collabs, a different approach to fitness. It's not just a bodybuilder, telling you to eat like him or take his products. They've taken a totally different approach to it. And they, when people ask, so what are the best brands in the industry? Everybody kind of mentions them. Like, who's actually doing good in this industry? It's always Ghost.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Dan and Ryan, anybody, like, you'll see comments on our page, too, like, Dan and Ryan and Ghost are doing something different, and you're right. People are imitating them, they're copying them, and that's a form of, that should be flattering to Dan and Ryan because they did something different. Like, there has not been a lot of change in this industry in a while. The flavor collaborations is a huge change in a way to authenticate this industry, and they've done a great job with that. That's why they're one of our nominees for Brand of the Year. Last year they were a nominee too, and I think the year before that they would have been a nominee as well. They've just, since they've come onto the scene, they've done things their way, and a lot of people would be like, "Well, wait though, but they're with GNC only." Listen, it doesn't necessarily matter in this case because they're doing extremely well at GNC. Like, they're one of their top selling. I believe they won like GNC's award for like Brand of the Year itself, or like best selling brand. So they've had product launches this year, lots of flavor extensions. They've made a lot of noise. Like we talk about NutriBio making a lot of noise this year. Ghost is right there. I mean, they had product launches almost every week too for a long time. They do things their way. At the Olympia, for instance, they decided not to do the Olympia. They did their own little pop-up store at the GNC, had over 3,000 people come and visit them. So that shows that people care. So obviously Ghost is a no-brainer to be in consideration set. Again, all these brands on here, you guys at home are going to get a chance to vote on these too. So like Gerhardt and I get a chance to vote on them, and we made the nominees. Like, we haven't made our decisions yet. Like, we need to go back and really kind of like look into all the details on this because there are still some details that can come out in terms of, for instance, something bad could happen tomorrow to one of these brands, right? And it would fall off the list. But as of right now, Ghost has done everything the correct way, right way that they are in consideration for Brand of the Year. The second nominee here, I'm going to skip the second one, go to the third one, is our runner-up, is our reigning 2018 Brand of the Year, Redcon 1. Now, it should come as no surprise to people that Redcon 1 is on this list. And the biggest reason being is, yes, they've had Total War flavor extensions all year. They did a really cool one for the Olympia, Fireball one, which actually had like Sin City all over it. They did a White Walker one. They did America one for 4th of July. They have the Total War RTDs. They had the bar. They had Green Beret. They had several different flavors of Emery and Emery Light. So they've done a lot too this year, but they've grown. I think they did $65 million in 2018, Gerhardt. They're going to do over $100 million this year. That is significant growth. And for anybody out there, and again, everybody in the industry looks at Aaron Singerman, looks at Redcon 1 and says, how can I do that? He's done something different in terms of growth. He's attacking the industry differently. And I get along with him very well. And for me, it's super impressive to see that. Not only that, they got the Academy of Sports distribution. They got Dick's Sporting Goods, which is a major retailer to carry Total War and Total War RTD. And I think the bars, he's in a bunch of major convenience stores. He's in GNC. I believe Vitamin Shop as well.
He's in Vitamin Shop.
Yeah. And then, internationally, they're expanding. And the nice thing about his products is they are fairly, I believe they're compliant in most places because he doesn't use things like synephrine and himbine or agmatine sulfate. Like, he keeps them pretty generic in terms of products, which keeps the pricing down for him too, but they're still decent products. But it allows him to use that same run to ship to internationally, which is a cost savings, which then allows him to be more margin positive too, to put money back into marketing, which makes him the giant that they are. They just bought a gym, Redcon 1 gym.
Very impressive gym, very cool looking gym.
Redcon 1 Outdoors, which is something different too. We haven't heard a lot from that yet, but they're expanding outside of sports nutrition. So to not include the reigning champion would be a mistake, and they're right up there with Ghost in my opinion in terms of like those two brands. They've done things differently this year, 100% differently in how they've done it. But no offense to Ghost at all, they're not a $100 million company yet. Aaron Singerman and Redcon 1 is, and
did it in a couple years.
Yeah, definitely, probably could be in a couple years. But to have a jump from say $65 million to $100 million in a year, it's pretty fucking impressive. You gotta give props where props are due.
No objections there. What was I gonna say? With their Total War release, that's what got them started this year. I believe they had the phosphatidic acid product that they released this year as well.
Yep, 11.
I believe one other pill product. They don't make super crazy products. They just make products that work.
Right.
And I got to give Aaron a lot of credit for the whole idea. Like, I want to make the American version and bring that over to Europe, because he said this in a podcast once, Europeans want the American product because they just think it's stronger and better.
Right.
So that's why when you mentioned no Yohimbine, no agmatine, that was his thought process on there, which is actually very smart. I have to give him credit.
There's a reason Southwest Airlines uses the same airplane across their entire fleet. Makes it super simple to work on, same parts, cost savings. Aaron knows what he's doing. He's not an idiot. You can make an effective
People wonder why they have sales all the time. Like, every day there's a new email from Redcon. Hey, flash sale. People wonder, how are you guys making margin at all?
Yeah.
But Aaron knows what he's doing with his growth.
Absolutely. You can take the next one.
Next one, we have one that actually has already been nominated twice. We have Muscle Sport. Now, I didn't get to use them as much as you. However, with the few product releases that they have had this year, they've, like, let's say their Lean Whey, their Unicorn Cookie Shake, and their King's Ransom, they've both been so popular and so incredible that there's no way we can't, like, overlook that. Success with just two products is crazy.
Yeah.
So,
and not to mention, they secured Vitamin Shop this year. Their Vitamin Shop distribution is brand new.
They're finally expanding to more than just like mom and pop shops.
So you'll see Muscle Sport kind of change probably moving forward, because we do live in more of a digital era. That's not to say they're going to piss on their retailers at all, but they're obviously they're priced the way they are on their website to support brick and mortar, right? Vitamin Shop now carrying the products. I got to imagine at some point GNC is on the radar to get in there as well. Bodybuilding.com might be another option, since they have a drop ship program over at bodybuilding.com now. So there's plenty of opportunity there. And with their Lean Whey, which sells out super quickly, King's Ransom sold out quick, Forbidden Fruit's going to sell out quick. They made some good noise this year. They made some good traction in terms of distribution growth, dollar volume growth. They're up, and internationally they're doing some cool stuff too. So Muscle Sport definitely deserves to be on here. Again, if you've had those two products, which have been nominated separately in each category.
Well, I've also tried more than just, because actually Muscle Sport has, like, 4 other brands, like sub brands.
Right.
And one thing I have to give them credit, as much as we give Ghost credit for their flavoring, Muscle Sport's actually probably the best flavored, supplements on the market. They are the best tasting products on the market. They're very underrated for that purpose. They have a lot of interesting flavors, a lot of good ones. They just don't get the hype around it, obviously, because it's not collabs.
Yeah, 100%.
So.
Great flavor across the board. Jason, the sub chef, he takes pride in that for sure.
He's really good at it.
So we have two more here. I'll take one of the last two, and I'll let you finish off the show. So the Genius brand actually is like a wild card in this one to come in. Now, a lot of people out there will be like, wait, what? The Genius brand? Why? What? Listen. The Genius brand quietly launched several really good products this year and reformulated several good products. So they come out with the Genius brand Burn, which is their thermogenic. It's a capsule. I believe it's a cap or a powder. I can't remember which one it is, but it's their fat burner, which actually is it's got ashwagandha in it as well. A good formula. They came out with a gamer product, which I thought was really cool. Actually using the Blu-ray light blocking technology that obviously you're staring at a screen all the time, so it's kind of cool to use those ingredients. They came out with Genius Mindfulness, which is a new product. I mean, they have great staple products like Genius Joy, and they use all natural ingredients. They're great products. I mean, I know at some point they're going to probably reformulate their pre-workout, but for the longest time, the Genius brand was strictly Amazon, and they killed it. Like, they were one of Amazon's #1 brands. But the problem with Amazon is eventually at some point, Amazon is going to recognize what you're doing and create their own house brand to compete against you. So they got smart, went out, they secured distribution rights with Europa, which is the biggest sports nutrition distribution service in America. They got into Vitamin Shop. Again, it's a common theme. Vitamin Shop is starting to look for brands like this now. And they just got picked up by bodybuilding.com. So expanding your distribution. Mark Post kind of came on there to help out Robert Oliver and has really sort of blitzkrieg this. And he's come out and he wanted to be in select retailers to expand the brand outside of Amazon. And they've been doing a great job with it. And they have quality products. And I know that we do a lot of deep dive into their products on our website because they are very education-focused products. Like, we need to educate the consumers on why, because it's not it's not a stim-based pre-workout. It's a non-stim it's a very low stim pre-workout. It might even be non-stim, to be honest with you. I can't remember if there's caffeine in it or not. But it's their products aren't screaming hardcore gym goers, but they're very good. They're naturally made. To the point before we were talking about some of those ingredients from Sprouts coming over. They just use high-quality ingredients that a lot of ingredients sometimes we never heard of before that we have to do some cool research on, and we get to find out more about them. And they're doing some really, really fun stuff with creating products And, it's impressive with their distribution channel, their growth this year. So that's why Genius Brand made the list of our top 5.
I completely agree. It's kind of a brand for everybody.
Yeah.
You can be a hardcore lifter and use Genius Brand products, and you should be fine. To be honest, they just don't have that hardcore vibe to them.
Right. I mean, the labels are clean. Right.
They're orange and see-through and white. Nothing that's going to like totally. I mean, the orange kind of jumps out for you to you on the shelf, but it still doesn't look like compared it to like Animal Pack next to it, it's not going to be as loud. However, comparing it to Animal products, I think they're a lot better.
Right.
Just personally, Robert knows how to make some very solid products that I know aren't going to cause any damage in the long.
With like adaptogens and mushrooms and stuff. I mean, mushrooms are huge, and I'm talking like sports nutrition mushrooms. People get you out of your ass. Like, I mean, they're huge in Europe. Like, they're huge over in the UK and stuff, and they're getting popularity. You go to any sort of like co-op or a grocery store, stuff like that, you'll see mushrooms in the checkout line. Like products that contain them, like they're going to be here. They're on the forefront, and the Genius Brand has been creating products that have been incorporating mushrooms, like lion's mane, which is a phenomenal ingredient. They've been using that longer than most people, and now all of a sudden, we see them popping up in nootropics all over the place. That lion's mane is one of the at 500 milligrams everywhere. But Genius Brand's been using it forever, so they're here to stay, and they're going to do some really cool things. We'll end the show with the final nominee of Brand of the Year. So people out there wondering, like, "Oh my God, you left them out." We didn't leave them out. I just wanted you to talk about them.
This is the brand with probably the most, how do I say this? The most respected owner, I would say, currently at this point in the industry. NutriBio with Mark Glazier. There's no way we couldn't include them on this list. Compared to Ghost, they're easily, at the top.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way, they start out the year like, how do I say, like extremely fast. They had a new release every week, products that you wouldn't expect. Alpha EAA, they got innovative. They revamped their flavor line with their breakfast series, and then onwards from that, their bourbon banana nut, their Great Berry Crush. Was it Great Berry Crush? I think that's it. So they've really, got a little funky with their flavors instead of just being, chocolate, vanilla, and they've done that without losing any of their integrity.
Yeah.
So, you can't say enough good about Mark Glazier. Every time I meet him, I look forward to meeting Mark because I know I'm going to learn something.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think in my head, it might have been 17 different flavors this year. I mean, just, you think about like they revamped their strawberry ice cream, then they did like a strawberry
pastry.
Strawberry pastry.
And shortcake.
Then you have, obviously, your cherry lime slush, and you have your strawberry lemon bombs and your dragon fruit. I mean, they just went nuts on flavors this year. Alpha EAA, they brought out, like Absorb, which is a coolest add-on product that a lot of people might not know enough about, but allows you to utilize your supplements better and be more efficient working for you. So that was kind of like the first half of the year. And then, something that we got to talk about is that Ethics is coming out. It's going to be a brick-and-mortar brand only from NutriBio, but a more innovative series of products that you don't necessarily find under the NutriBio name, but it's by NutriBio. That'll be found in brick-and-mortar, and that should still come out this year. So they did a lot. And they also tore up their entire manufacturing facility and made it beyond GMP and made it pharmaceutical grade, which is their commitment to quality.
Didn't have to.
They
didn't have to at all.
So those are things that we know that we look into. It's like, listen, this brand wants to continue their commitment to consistency and quality for the consumer. They won the 2017 Brand of the Year award. Redcon won the 2018 Brand of the Year award. 2019 is up for grabs. Honestly, like going through this list again and actually speaking out loud about the brands and talking about their accomplishments in 2019, I'm not convinced I know who I'm picking yet, to be honest with you, on my end. And I think, the people out there, this is great that we're giving you an opportunity to come to fitnessinformant.com. Obviously, we'll let you all know when it's live to come and vote. Voting will be open for a while. And I'm sure the brands will be telling all their fans to come and vote because everybody wants that belt. And in fact, I kind of want to keep the belt, but I can't. So I have to give it to something. So just a recap here on Brand of the Year. It's Ghost, NutriBio, Redcon One, Muscle Sport, and the Genius Brand. We will post all the nominations over at fitnessinformant.com here following the podcast. This gave us an opportunity to kind of go through and essentially justify why we picked what we did. Now, final note to people listening, wondering why their favorite brand didn't make it or why their product didn't make it. Listen, again, if we didn't work with them, we haven't tried them, we can't vouch for them. We don't have the data that we need. Now, if we have tried them, we have worked with them, and it's still not on there, listen, chances are we probably talked about them. I mean, there were names or products on your list and products on my list that didn't make this list because collectively, like we talked about it and we came to an agreement that this was the best list for 2019. Now, If you guys want to know, like, what's the best pump product, what's the best amino product, we have ranking guides for that over at Fitness Informant. Go check that out. There are some cool products that came out in 2019, but again, we want to focus more on the major categories. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or click that subscribe now button here on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at Fitness Informant. We're on Facebook too at Fitness Informant as well. Pretty soon, G, you'll be on the Fitness Informant Instagram, so they can start looking at your pretty face on that thing too. So I appreciate you coming on, bud. Diving into this a little bit more, giving a little deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
So fitnessinformant.com is the official website. Guys, check us out. The 2019 Supplement Awards. The nominations are out. The actual awards will be given out here in November, December. It's an exciting time in the industry. I'm excited for the rest of 2019 to finish because there's still some cool stuff coming out. And 2020, we'll see the expansion of Fitness Informant over to the UK, over into Europe, I should say, as we're taking the brand across seas for FIBO, and we're going to try to expand Fitness Informant over there and work with some international brands. So next year, maybe we'll have an international version of this show. Who knows? We'll have to see. So until next time, everybody, thank you very much for listening. Be informed, live fit.